Hey everybody, this is Dr. King from Maynard Jackson. The reason why I'm making this message or this video is because I wanted to briefly talk about CAS. I know we haven't had the opportunity to sit down and actually discuss the creativity, activity, and service portion of IB. So just to make it convenient, since everybody can't really get together all at the same time, I chose to go ahead and try to make a video that kind of explains what it's about and how to record it and what counts as CAS and all that kind of stuff. So it's for both cohorts. It's for the juniors that are the year one students that are about to be seniors, and it's also for the seniors that are about to turn in their information, turn in their stuff for CAS right before they get ready to graduate. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through some tips and some steps just to kind of go ahead and get started. So I'm starting with Google right here, just to type in our school. Oops, let me go ahead and move the thing, our school. All right, Maynard Jackson High School. This is our school website. There's a lot of ways to get to these things I'm gonna show you, but I'm just gonna start from the basics just so you can kind of get an idea. Scroll down to International Baccalaureate Program. This is our IB website. I'm sure you've probably seen it before. Maybe it covers all of our programs, the middle years, career related, and diploma program. But if you scroll up, there's also other things here too that might be of interest to you, definitely, but that's not for this particular discussion. So the home program. Down here you have the DP core, which is Center essay, CAS, and TOK. Let's click on CAS, and then you have a basic overview of what it's about. So it's basically looking at three components: creativity, which is anything that's creative in any capacity, whether it's music, art, anything that you want to do that's creative, counts for that. Dance, anything. The activity portion says physical exertion contributing to a healthy lifestyle, and that is part of it. So certain sports would count to a certain extent, but also it's activities in terms of like clubs and organizations and different just activity that you might do that doesn't pertain to a particular class per se. The service part of it, that's basically any kind of service you would do for others, any kind of community engagement, community service, anything along those lines. Now, where it has CAS brief, that's just a basic, description of what it's about. You might notice it has 18 months, a reasonable balance between creativity, activity, and service. So basically, that covers, for the most part, your junior and senior year. So anything within that time frame would count for that. So here it has what is CAS. That's basically the IB description. It's a brief kind of little blurb that kind of discusses with some links involved that kind of discuss what CAS is and what it means in the big scheme of things with IB or DP rather. And then actually have additional CAS resources. So it has details about CAS projects. I'll click on that, but this is still kind of a just a basic outline of what IB expects from CAS. But just so you understand, a CAS project is when something is an ongoing endeavor that might take a variety of people, a variety of your peers or your classmates to be involved in. So let's say a group of 5 to 10 students can get together and say, hey, let's do a CAS project about such and such or whatever it is. And whatever it is, we would prefer or is good if it's an issue that's affecting the school in of itself. So if it's an issue within Maynard Jackson that you feel should be addressed and or a need that should be met, then you and your peers can get together and say, hey, let's get together and meet that need and let's address that concern. And then that is a thing that not only does it is good for CAS, but it also builds like legacy for the school where we can look back and say, oh, class of 2022 did such and such, that kind of thing. So before we get into ManageBac here, it has potential CAS ideas. And so you can still scroll down in this particular website and just see what would count for CAS per se. So you have, coaching children in sports, delivering meals to people with medical conditions, restoring a stream, preparing the soil for elementary school garden, helping the animal shelter, leading a workshop on pet care, assembling a photographic exhibit about poverty in a gallery, preparing meals in a soup kitchen, preparing signs for local walking trail, make the zoo toys for animals, leading the town hall meeting on solar energy, providing reusable water bottles to replace single water bottles, make signs to protect local habitats from trash. It's a lot of different things you can do. You can go on and on. So those are, so it's just whatever idea you have that you would like to do, that it counts. So as long as you're doing other things outside of school, that's the main thing. So another big question students have is, how do I record CAS? And how do I acknowledge that it's been done? And so that's through ManageBac. So I'm going to my ManageBac here, and I will admit my ManageBac might look a little bit different than yours, but let me see if I can still go to what you would need to have. I put myself in ManageBac, so I made myself a student so I can show you this kind of from a student perspective of what this is like. So, but it still might be a little different right now until I get to myself. So hold on one moment. All right. So once you get to this screen, that basically this should be something similar to what you would see when you log in. This is a video about how to use ManageBac forecast, and it's different little quick start guides about how to do certain things within ManageBac forecast. But the most important thing that I'm showing in this video is how to record it so we can know that you did it, and so you can keep track of it over time. And that's where you go to add CAS experience here. So this is where you would get where you would put the information about the details about what you're doing. So I'm just going to put something simple here. So just to make it brief. All right. And then now a CAS project, as I mentioned, is where it's an actual ongoing endeavor with, maybe a few people involved. So if that's the case, you would click that. If not, you don't have to. It's not mandatory. I'm going to put community-based. I might also put individual. You put whatever the date is you feel like putting. Hold on one second. I just want to copy this briefly. Now, your description wouldn't be this, but it'd be something more thorough. I just want to do that for the sake of time. So it would say what the strand would be. Is it service? Is it activity? Is it creativity? But we'll go ahead and put service. And then also if it's direct service, if it's indirect or advocacy, those things count too. So for supervisor name, just to make it simple, I'm just going to put me there. For title, I'm going to put, I guess, IB coordinator, and for supervisor email, I wouldn't, of course, this would be real information. I just didn't want to put all that information in there. All right. That is my cell phone number, though, if anybody needed to contact me for anything. So it says, please select your targeted learning outcomes. So that means how did you grow from that experience? Did you show initiative and planning? Did you collaborate with other people on it? Was a global thing you were engaging? Was it a challenge you overcame? Did you show commitment and perseverance? So those are the kind of things. You have the ethical choices you made. So that you can use this as kind of like a guide on what kind of things you can do for CAS. So it doesn't have to necessarily be, an actual sport or activity, or necessarily a community service project, although it definitely can. But it might just be, the time we overcame this particular challenge involving COVID, involving a pandemic, or involving virtual school, or just some of the side effects that come from that, in various ways. All those things count as well. So it's just showing the well-rounded student, so to speak. But you would still have to justify whether it's something that's creative, some kind of activity, and some kind of service, though, regardless. All right. So I'm gonna click add CAS experience. Hopefully, it's no red flags. Okay, good. And so as you will go on, it'll be more of those things. Notice how I click initiative and collaborative skills. As time goes by, it'll show different things that you've been kind of working on over time, basically. If you want to add any kind of documents, that's like, maybe some photographs, maybe some a brochure or a program, or just, some a highlight article or a highlight or anything in it that kind of shows more of what you've done, you upload those here. You'll put any kind of notes you would make, like, the experience was something I enjoyed, or something I'll do again, or I'm going to pass it on to the next generation, or whatever it is you want to say. And that's that. I'm going to just put an ellipsis here because I don't have anything to say at the moment, but you hopefully would. And that's that. Now for timeline, it kind of would show over time what you've been doing based on the dates that you put for the project or for the experience. So over time, it'll be various different bars with different times for either service or creativity or action that kind of illustrate what you've been doing. Same thing, you can add documents to kind of illustrate those things, and that's that. But I'm going to go ahead and click post note. And that's pretty much the gist of it. And that's kind of how it works. And then where it says Yusef King, that's the note I would have made. And truth be told, I'll be able to go in there, me as the coordinator. I'm also the CAS coordinator at the moment, the interim, I guess, CAS coordinator, you would say. I can go in and see those things. So as the year goes on, well, for the seniors, soon by next week, but for the juniors, as the school year, the summer, comes upon us, and next school year rolls around, then you will have an ongoing catalog of these things. And whenever at certain times of year, I can just pop in and say, "Oh, let's see how they're doing." Oh, okay, they've done a few things. Oh, I see. And that's that. And if I wanted to add some notes, I can put the notes in here for you, and we can have a discussion via here about it if it came down to it. But that's pretty much it. To mention was how we can access it. So, for example, let's say you do start putting CAS experiences in there, I'll be able to go in and say, okay, on track, or there's a concern, or you're doing an excellent job. And so that's kind of a way you would get feedback. I'm sort of the default CAS advisor, or the CAS, I guess, supervisor for everybody at the moment. But just know that if there is a particular activity or something where we would say, oh, we get to assign you with a certain person, then we can do that as well through this system, sort of like with the extended essay kind of. But since CAS is more broad, I'm kind of just your go-to person unless there's a specific thing where there's somebody in the building that's just a specialist in it. Or if I just choose that there's somebody that will be a good fit for what you're doing. So that just gives you an idea of some things. Now, there is a way you can go in later and compile all these things to illustrate for colleges and stuff, but I'm going to save that for another video. For now, I just want you to just kind of put it all in there, have it together, and once it's in, it's pretty much in. That kind of gives you an idea of how to record CAS. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. And before I leave this section, there's one thing I want to mention before we leave, and that is with this part where it has supervisor's name, I just want to clarify that's the person that is over whatever the service that you did was, whatever the activity that you did was. So whoever that person who you feel is the person who started it or who is initiated the endeavor, then that's where you put that information. If it's unorganized, if something that you did or something we talked about in school or something I'm just aware of, and you're not sure who to put, you can put me, for in that spot. If it's something you did with your family, or you can put your parents in there if that's something that you think that they kind of were involved in you being a part of. But that's what that section is for. I just wanted to add that clarity. So while the advisor is somebody that will be in the school to kind of help you out, the supervisor is the person who would be involved with that particular endeavor. But when in doubt, just put my email address and my information. Okay. But also I do want to I guess shout out or acknowledge a couple of endeavors that's been going on for a while at Jackson I've been a part of, that's been affiliated with CAS to a certain extent. We have this is actually from the farm, Jackson Park Farm, which is at the rooftop of our school, our Rooftop Garden. So basically Miss Stevens manages that. So that's still going on right now. So if you don't know what you can do for a CAS activity, you can always sign up for this. Now, Miss Stevens, she's downstairs. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go to her contact information in just a moment. But I'm pretty sure every weekend, or once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks, students and some college students as well come and work on the rooftop garden on the top of the school. So that's one thing. And just so you know, I'm going to show you this also before I let you all go. So if you go to the IB website, go to additional resources here. There's a lot of stuff here that might be pertinent information for you, but I'm just going to go to teacher contact information. And here you will find information for all of your teachers. Actually, this is where all the IB teacher and AP teachers email addresses are. So if you need to contact somebody, this is where you would do it. Any of your individual teachers. Well, this is not where, but this is where you will find their information if you don't already have it. But Mrs. Stevens here, she is our the person over that rooftop garden. So that's one thing I want to share. Also, there's one other thing that's an idea for CAS as well that I wanted to mention to you. This particularly for the juniors, since the seniors are pretty much out the door. So one moment. So this is one other thing. Some years ago, a former IB coordinator put together an Atlanta Institute for Diplomatic Leadership. So basically, it's a program that this retired coordinator put together strictly for IB students. Just so you know, the time frame is from July 5th through the 9th and the 12th to the 16th. It goes, it's virtually now through Zoom, but that's also something that they encourage IB students to participate in. It's only for students, and well, I'm not saying only, but it's, I guess, targeted towards students that are in the IB diploma or career program. So this information, I'll send it out via email soon in the next, maybe few days. But either way, this is another endeavor that you may consider, for that works for CAS as well. And like I said, the person that's spearheading it is specifically looking for, they only go to IB schools for IB students for this type of thing. So that's something else to kind of keep in mind. And even throughout your travels, as you do things throughout the summer, as you travel, like they have different experiences, just take note, just think to yourself, would these things count for something that's that shows my creative side, or just shows an activity or action I've been involved in that's not like my usual routine, or any kind of service to others in any kind of way. That's all that counts, and that's what we try to incorporate. All right, and before we let you go, there's one more last thing that I want to mention, and that is our Emory programs. As you may know, we've had a partnership with Emory for many years, and some of you participated in a few of these programs as well. The first I'll mention is Seed. I know it might be some familiar faces in this particular photo, but basically, it was for our students that are mostly sophomores that are becoming juniors, but now they do have opportunities for upperclassmen to help participate and kind of help craft ideas and different experiences for sophomores as they rise up, at Maynard Jackson. So that's one thing to consider for Seed as well. There's Paving Our Future. That's something as well. Some of our students have been involved in SOAR, students obtaining Atlanta research. That also would count for CAS as well. So I'll record all those things. If I can find any more. The library tours kind of come with IB a little bit. Emory Reed's elementary endeavor. Model UN, that's a big one. Also, I want to promote Model UN as a program we really want to advocate for at Maynard Jackson. So that's one to consider as well. So those are a few things that you might want to keep in mind. They also have college tours as well. So all these things will kind of come down the road, but these are things you could participate in for CAS throughout your high school career, your time in IB as well. So as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If there's any issues or any kind of concerns, feel free to reach out to me and contact me. I'm available via email or text or phone call. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time.